So they're basically going to buy the house and let them stay there, maybe on a life estate, and just have an agreement on what you want to do. And hopefully they don't destroy it, but that might be a good thing for them to take their payment away. Well, how about those reverse mortgages too?
I was like, so if mom and dad still have that, they want to stay. Just because we get older doesn't mean we lose our pride. We still have that pride. We want to own our house. We want to stay there, and we want to try to make it. The problem is eventually with those bad decisions of missing partial payments shows that the payment wasn't made. And so what happens is that payment that's in arrears from way back keeps kicking, even though you caught up the next month, but you didn't catch up with this one. So that's still missing. So what happens is you think you have the illusion that you're caught up, but you're not. And so what'll happen is eventually there may be a foreclosure proceeding or whatever, and they'll just take the house. So reverse mortgage would be probably the smartest thing they could do to stay there, tap the equity. Like they said, they didn't really tell us what the house was worth. They said they owed $200 on it, but they'll take over the payments for these guys and use the equity to pay the payments so they can live there essentially at no cost. The difference is that some people will say, like this son, I'd rather own the house myself, and then in theory they can keep that equity for the family versus for the mom and dad. But remember, there is a look back when you go to nursing homes or you go to any kind of a retirement. They have in some states have up to, like in Minnesota, I think it's back 6 years. So if they bought that house from mom and dad, let's say for $200,000 4 years ago, and now they're in assisted living, they'll look back and say, hey, you guys skimmed $200,000 off the top of this deal and we want it back. That's going to cover mom and dad staying here. And so they can do that stuff. So you got to be a little careful as to how you do it, or you have to make sure that you sell it at market value. So mom and dad get that $200,000 in cash.
You can do a gift equity too to probably try to get some of that money, but I think each situation is very different. I mean, you got to kind of get all the facts before you can start doing all that.
That's a great opportunity too. So let's say mom and dad give them a private loan for the other half, and there's $200,000 you owe mom and dad do what?
Well, they can gift you a certain amount over your lifetime. And so sometimes what happens is that I think the yearly gift now somewhere between 13 and 16,000. But I think my accountant told me that you could actually gift someone over a lifetime up to like $11 million, something crazy. From a mortgage standpoint, that happens a lot. I just was involved in one where the owner gift taxed their son 20%. The price was. It was definitely worth. It was worth $400,000. You know, they said, hey, we're going to give you 80, so you just got to pay us $320,000.
And the look back can't really. I don't know how that looks on that, but they can gift their children as long as the sale was made and they had a pile of money and they gifted that, or there's rules to it. Like when you have a parent that's elderly going to an assisted living, there's different rules with that you when you sign a contract to let them go in there, you adapt their rules. So now, federal law and state laws are going to be different, varied by state. But I'll tell you, that is a great way to, let's say the biggest one is the cabin, right? So the cabin's worth, $500,000. And from day one, you should be gifting your children, that so many dollars per year of value, like, what I'm saying, as you go along. So eventually they own it for you.
But that's really hard for adults and parents. It's like, if I'm gifting kids my money, eventually I'm going to be like, geez, I don't have no money. I think people are really, and especially as they get older, they get more worried about that they're going to run out of money. So
that's like the number one fear. You talk to most retirement, professionals, they say that's everyone's number one fear. Once they say they're retired, they immediately start obsessing about, will I run out of money? And what is my return? And how much? And then their burn rate on cash goes really low. They live almost like they're in poverty level for a couple years. And then they get the holy crap, I can't stand this anymore. I want to go have a steak dinner once a week.
You're probably only going to live 20 more years. And you can afford up to like $50,000 a year. That'll get you through it. So you have $1 million. You only have 800,000. So maybe if you die sooner, you'll be better off.
My parents back in the day, they had some of their friends that actually were older than them, went to an assisted living, and they were milking these guys for like $16,000 a month. These people worked their whole lives to make millions of dollars and had it in the bank and just chunk. And I go, you know what? Here's a good deal. You can always rest assured that you have a space in my basement, and I only charge $12,000 a month. So it's going to be very fair.
You got a good deal, both with your kids, both in the medical field. I think
they'll abandon us for sure.
They could get rid of you pretty damn quick too.